It's me. I'm back. It's Creative Chaos. Woo! We're back with more Digital March Madness. Everyone's done with the second round, the men and the women. So we're gonna do our little check-in here and see how things have progressed. So here's our rules again. So if you choose correctly, you save $2. If you choose incorrectly, save $3. And then if a team wins with a score over 80 points, save $5. If an upset occurs, save $5. If a game goes to overtime, save $10. And if an individual player scores over 35 points, save $20. And this was just added in my last video for the women's. If the team scores over 100 points, save an extra $5. And then once we get to the Elite 8, Final 4, and Championship games, we'll save the winning score. So, second round, UCLA versus Richmond. UCLA won, so that's correct. And we're going to save $2. And we got a bonus $5 for the score. Baylor versus Ole Miss. I chose Baylor, but that was incorrect, so Ole Miss won, and that was a $3 for choosing incorrectly. And then I got a $5 bonus for the upset. LSU versus Florida State. LSU was the correct answer, so I saved $2. And they got a bonus for scoring over 80 points and for scoring over 100 points. They got 101 points. So exciting. And then last on this card is NC State versus Michigan State. NC State was the correct answer. And then we got a $5 bonus for the score. So total amount saved on this card was $34. That's so exciting. These girls are so talented and so amazing that they can score over 100 points. Like, incredible. USC versus Mississippi State. This one just finished. USC was the correct answer, so I got a $2. And then I also got a bonus, $5 for the score, and a $20 bonus for player points. So an individual player scored over 35 points. That's insane. Kentucky versus Kansas State. Kansas State was the correct answer, so I need to save $3 for that one. And then I got a $5 bonus for the upset, and it went to overtime, so I got a $10 bonus on that one. Oklahoma versus Iowa. I thought Iowa was going to win, but that was incorrect, so I saved $3, and then I got a $5 bonus for the score. UConn versus South Dakota State. UConn was the correct answer, so I saved $2, and then I got a $5 bonus for the score. So total saved on this card was $60. Third scorecard for the women. South Carolina versus Indiana. South Carolina was the correct pick, so I saved $2, and there was no bonus for this one. Maryland versus Alabama. Maryland was the correct answer. I thought it was going to be Alabama, but Maryland was correct, so I saved $3. And this one got a whole bunch of bonuses. So they got a $5 bonus for the over 80 points, and then another $5 bonus for scoring over 100 points. And then the game went to overtime, so that was $10. And then an individual player scored over 35 points, so I saved another $20. All just in this one game. That's insane. How many times am I going to say insane? It's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. It's crazy. These girls, they're incredible. North Carolina versus West Virginia. North Carolina was the correct answer, so I saved $2, but there's no bonus. And then Duke versus Oregon. Duke was the correct pick, so I saved $2, and then a $0 bonus, so nothing there. But total saved on this card, $49. And then our last scorecard for the second round women's, Texas versus Illinois. Texas was correct, so I saved $2, but no bonus there. Ohio State versus Tennessee. Tennessee was the correct answer. And since they were a number 5 team playing a number 4 team, they got the upset, which was a $5 bonus, and they scored over 80 points. So that's another $5 bonus. Notre Dame versus Michigan. Notre Dame was the correct answer, so that's a $2 bonus. And no other bonuses. Well, I'm getting all tongue-tied here. And then TCU. TCU versus Louisville. TCU was the correct answer. And then we got a $5 bonus for the score, and then a $20 bonus for player points. So that means another player scored over 35 points in this game. That's awesome. So total saved on this card was $43. And we've saved $186. So we're going to remind everybody of what we're saving for. So we have, you can focus, we have our family reunion, our credit card, our travel, our high yield savings account, student loans, and Roth. So I'm going to use a 6-sided die and we're going to roll for that one. It's a 6. 6 is my Roth. Okay, so new rule for me. Let's see if I can color all of this in here. Yoo-hoo! Alright, so number 6 was my Roth, so I'm creating a new rule here. So every time one of these gets checked off, they can't be used again. Because there's 6 spots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then our championship will be the last one. This will be our extra one. So each one is going to get something. So that's going to my Roth, and then we'll go down to our men. So the men's is a little bit different. So instead of 80 points, it's 85, and then individual players need to score 30 instead of 35. So, but the rest of the rules still apply. So we'll get to that. So, second round. Woo, second round. Duke versus Baylor. Duke was the correct answer, so that's a $2. And then a $5 bonus for the score. Arizona versus Oregon. Arizona was the correct answer, so I saved $3, and a $5 bonus was for the score. Wisconsin versus BYU. I thought Wisconsin was going to win, but they didn't. So BYU was the correct answer. So I saved $3 with that one. And then I got a $5 bonus for the upset, $5 bonus for the score, and then $20 bonus for an individual player scoring over 30 points. Man, they're taking all my money. Alabama versus St. Mary's. Alabama was the correct answer, so I got $2 and no bonus on this game. So total saved on this card was $50. All because of that. Incredible. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Auburn versus Creighton. Auburn was correct, so that's a $2 save, and then no bonus for that game. Texas A&M versus Michigan. Michigan was correct, so I saved $2, and they got $5 bonus for the points, and then $5 bonus for the upset. Iowa State versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss was correct, so I saved $3 there, and then I got two $5 bonuses for the score and for the upset. And then Michigan State versus New Mexico. Michigan State won, so that's $2 in my pocket, and then a $0 bonus. So total saved on this card was $29. Then we'll go down to our Midwest. Houston versus Gonzaga. I really thought Gonzaga was going to get the upset, but Houston pulled out at the end. So Houston is correct, so I'll save $3 from that one, but no bonuses. Purdue versus McNeese. Purdue was correct, so that's $2 and no bonus for that one. Kentucky versus Illinois. Kentucky is the correct answer, so that's a $2 bonus, and then no other bonuses. Tennessee versus UCLA. Oh, I got this one wrong. Okay, so it's actually a $3 save instead of a $2. So that's $3 and no bonus. So total saved for this one is $10. Woohoo! That's one extra dollar. All right, back to what we were saying. So we have Florida versus Yukon. Florida was the correct answer for $2, and then no bonus there. Maryland versus Colorado State. I thought they were going to have their little Cinderella moment still, but Maryland beat them, and so I have to save $3 for that game, but no bonuses. Texas Tech versus Drake. Texas Tech was correct, which is a $2 bonus, but no other bonuses. St. John's versus Arkansas. Arkansas is having their Cinderella moment here, so I saved $3 for that one, and then I also get a $5 bonus for the upset. So total saved on this card was $15. So total saved for this one, we'll scroll back up to our scorecard here, is actually 104 because I got, come on now, let me erase. So it's actually 104 instead of 103 because we added that extra dollar. All right, we're gonna roll and see where it goes. Number 5. Did we get number 5 already? Yes, we got student loans for number 5. If I get another number 5, then it's going to stay in student loans. If I get a different number, then we'll be okay. 3 for travel. Oh, God. That was a 3, right? I'm going to say it was a 3. So 3 for travel. So I'm going to put that down. Travel. And I'm going to be right back so I can write everything in, and then we'll get to our picks. Okay, we are back. We are going to be picking our teams for the Sweet 16. So first we have UCLA versus Ole Miss. We're going to choose UCLA. NC State versus LSU. I'm going to go LSU, get the upset. USC versus Kansas State. I'm going to go USC. And then UConn versus Oklahoma. We're going to go UConn. Woo! So that's one half of the Sweet 16. Then we'll go to the second half. And this is the women's, by the way, just in case you didn't know. Next one is South Carolina versus Maryland. We're going to go South Carolina, baby. Duke versus North Carolina. Woo! Good old rivalry. Rivalry. We're going to go Duke. Let's go Duke. Texas versus Tennessee. Another rivalry. Ooh, we're going to go with the number 1 team, Texas. And then Notre Dame versus TCU. Let's go Notre Dame. We're going to get the upset for that one. So I think I only have 2 upsets. Yeah, so 2 upsets for the Sweet 16 for the women's. Let's hope that pans out for me. And then we're going to scroll down to the men's and zoom on in. So the men, we have Duke versus Arizona. We're going to go for Duke. Alabama versus BYU. I think I will still go with Alabama. I don't know why. Alabama. Florida versus Maryland. We're going to go Florida. Texas Tech versus Arkansas. You know what? I'm going to go for the upset. Let's go for Arkansas. So that's the East and the West over there. And then we're going to go South and Midwest. Auburn versus Michigan. And then we have Michigan State versus Ole Miss. As much as I'd love for both Michigan teams to meet each other, I really want Auburn to win. So I'm going to go Auburn, and then I'm going to go Michigan State. Houston versus Purdue. Houston. And last but not least, we have Tennessee versus Kentucky. I'm going to go for the upset. I'm going to choose Kentucky. All right. Those are my picks for the Sweet 16. Hope you had a wonderful time. I hope you're following along and all that. Hope your team is still in it. Let me know down in the comments. Or if you got upset by one of these other teams, let me know. Okay, I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!